Welcome to the show. I am so excited for yet another epic Rebel Radio conversation with my dear friend, Sara Palmer. Dear friend, we've just met, so you're already a dear friend. Welcome to the show, Sara. Thank you for being here. Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are.
First of all, thank you so much, Cindy, for having me on. And thanks to everybody who's listening now and in the future. You are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. And that's why you're here. So I'm Sara Palmer. I'm affectionately known as the Permission to Choose speaker, trainer, and coach. And I work with groups of high achieving women and moms. And I'm hired by companies and organizations and event planners to speak to high achievers. I'm talking about those of you who are listening, you're probably a high achiever. I don't mean that you need to have a blazer on and be in the C-suite. I'm saying the people who get shit done.
Yes.
So high achieving means, every goal that's ever been set for you, you've met or you're on the way. When somebody said, I don't think you can do that, you were like, yeah, go ahead and watch me. Right?
Hold my beer.
Oh my God, seriously. Hold any beverage I have handy, basically. And now we're looking around at this point in our lives, high achieving, got everything done. We knew what we were expecting to get when we got to this point, and it is not here. So we are looking around, we are burned out, we are exhausted, we are tired. And what I do with my two signature programs, the 1 Minute Miracle Method and the Self-Care Slaycation, is I show high achievers, especially moms, how to balance the life you want with the life you have now without having to run off into the woods and start over again.
Yes, I think that's so important. And we're passionate about that here at Rebel Radio, is that balance between the masculine and feminine. And I always say, you are not a human doing, you are a human being. And we don't spend enough time being. So definitely resonate with that for sure.
For sure.
Tell me more about this 1 minute miracle.
So the 1 Minute Miracle Method I developed, oh my goodness, probably about 8 years ago in the middle, in the middle of a crisis situation. It just started kind of coming to me. And I love that some of the best things in the world come to people at times when they weren't ready for it, when they weren't expecting. But I totally believe that the universe is taking care of you and providing the things that you need when you need them. So in the middle of this really big crisis, basically it was the culmination of the end of my marriage. I developed this 5-step system, and it didn't come to me fully downloaded. I'm not, John Lennon or Paul McCartney, where I woke up and there's yesterday right there. But it came to me in small bits and pieces because of this event. And it helps to develop decision making. And we were talking about that before we got on the air, about the idea of making decisions sometimes feels like they never stop. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us make decisions on the fly, thousands a day. At the very least, on a low day, we're talking dozens a day. Mm-hmm. And how many of those are we comfortable with? How many of these are we actually proud of what we made the decision to do, and not just like, oh my God, okay, well, I got to walk that one back tomorrow, right? So the whole point of the 1 Minute Miracle Method is it gives people a chance in 7 seconds or less to be able to make more empowered decisions that you're actually proud of making at the time and after. That's the first 3 steps. And the last 2 steps are maintenance steps. They're the things we do to help our foundation be strong and to actually build the neural pathways so that we can do the first 3 steps. Because, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of people out in the personal growth, personal development sphere that have these amazing systems. They're great. But you walk away from that training or that blog post or that, podcast, you're like, this is so good. And then 2 days later, you've not done any of it because you haven't figured out how to actually work it into your life, which is 117% scheduled already.
Right.
So one of the steps in the 1 Minute Miracle actually stops and says, wait, how the hell do we do this for real in my actual life? And we lay it all out. Companies see this huge improvement in communication because all of their employees actually know how to approach a problem. Mm-hmm. in a way that they're going to be proud of that solution. So they're bringing their better selves to that conversation. And almost more importantly, individuals. So I'm talking about the people that are working the 9 to 5, and then the entrepreneurs that are then working the 5 to 9. I love that phrasing. You know, you got your 9 to 5, and then you got your 5 to 9, at least for some people. It helps make decisions that make you proud of you, just as a human, not always just as somebody who's doing a thing. Like you said, human being versus human doing.
Yeah.
Just, I'm at peace at the end of the day because of the decisions that I made during the day.
Oh, how powerful is that? I am at peace with who I am because of the decisions I made. That is so good. That is so good. So speaking about decision making, before we went live, we were talking about your numerology. And many know I'm a quantum numerologist. I talk about numerology all the time. Numbers are just math. And this is a way, it's the purest form of personality assessment that I've ever seen. So I shared a little bit of your numerology before we came live on the show. And I would love to hear what was like your biggest takeaway from what I shared with you really quickly.
I think what hit the hardest was the idea that you said that as a 7, that I'm a mover, that physically I need to be kind of on the move to be able to ironically, make good decisions and be able to process life. And it tracks 100%. I mean, if you go over to my Instagram, you're going to see videos of me, and 99% of them I am walking. Like I'm on a walk and I'm like, okay, you know what? Something just occurred to me that my people need to hear. Yeah. So the processing, the coming up with ideas, the kind of getting that connection back to myself first, kind of that centering down, and then what's coming out for the world. That happens when I'm moving, either with yoga, with walking. Right now, I'm not doing as much weight training and things because safety and all, but just, moving my body and finding that that's what gets the crap out of the way in my head. It's like sifting everything through, moving it through a funnel, getting the stuff that I needed to think about it, but I don't need to live with it.
Right.
That movement piece lets that happen. And you had said, when you don't move, your brain's going to move. Your brain's going to do the walking for you. And good luck sitting on the couch with that.
Right.
With that.
Right. Absolutely. And the 7s also make a lot of decisions in their daytime, right? And so learning to trust yourself and really knowing that those decisions are the right ones for you, super powerful technique for a 7 to have under their belt. I love it.
Yes. Doesn't surprise me at all that the 1-minute miracle method comes around from a 7.
Yeah.
Or that the self-care slaycation piece comes around from a 7. And that's the self-care piece that we work with both companies and with individuals. I have an individual program that I'm launching very soon called the 6-day slaycation. And that's something that individuals can pick up. And I'll have that. We'll talk more about the details for that later. If not, you can just pop to my website. It's on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make sure that everybody has your information if they're interested in that for sure.
All the information.
So this terminology of self-mastery is really the inspiration behind Rebel Radio, because I feel like self-mastery is like trying to define the word success. What does it actually mean? And so I always ask everybody, what does self-mastery mean to you?
And that's such a deep question. Like I said, before we got on, I was saying to Cindy that I've been listening to a bunch of the old episodes, and it's fascinating to hear how different people define that self-mastery. Like you said, it's like defining what air is. Everybody's got a different idea, and they're all right. That's what I love. They're all right. They're going to hit with some people and not with other people. Yeah. For me, self-mastery is just the recognizing of who I am at this exact moment. And doing 2 things at the same time, which is loving exactly where I am. If nothing ever changed, I'm okay. And also recognizing what I want to continue working on, that I can see that there's improvement, because being able to do both is not easy, people. It is not. Normally it's either I love me and, screw y'all, or it's, I'll love myself when I reach this, this financial goal, or if I look this certain way, or if my hair is this certain color, or if this person pays attention to me. So being able to do both. I love who I am, but this doesn't have to be who I want to be. I'd like to continue growing because I'm a human person that, has all of this potential. That's that self-mastery piece for me, doing both at the same time.
Oh, yes, I love that so much. And I think that's important because we're, like you said, we're either striving for something and then we're continuously chasing it and never happy, or we're just like, no, I'm just going to stay here. But we're meant for expansion. We are universal beings and the universe is always expanding, which means we need to be always expanding and growing. So I love that definition. Got goosebumps. It's good. So as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, as a coach, how has self-mastery supported you in your journey?
I think so. The piece that we were talking about, that it's both at the same time, that it's both I love me and I'd like to improve in this piece, or I'd like to work on that piece. I think the way that that's really served me kind of as an entrepreneur is that I recognize that I have to keep growing, and that what has worked for me in the past may not work anymore. And that's not bad. That's not, oh, well, I used to try it this way. You know, I used to reach out to clients like this, or I found that when I was delivering coaching, that this methodology worked really well for me. And I'm coming back to it now in this time, you know, in a time of pandemic, in a time of social and racial unrest. And when I say unrest, I technically mean, like, I'm gonna be totally honest here, white people suddenly realizing what a lot of other people had been seeing and living for pretty their entire existence. You know, when I'm looking around and saying the things that I used to do don't work anymore, I'm not panicked. I'm not trying desperately to cling to something because it used to work. That self-mastery is tricky because, nobody likes change. Nobody likes change. Bless the people who are like, oh yeah, let's just keep it moving. Let's set everything on fire. Sure. I
do that.
Yes, you can burn it all. On one end, yes. I'm like, burn it all down. Let's try again. Because we need more people helping out with this whole building thing. But the self-mastery piece helps me remember to give myself what I call backpacks of grace. Just everybody, just wear a backpack filled with, you know what, we are doing the best we can right now. And what didn't work, that's okay. Maybe it'll work again in the future. I don't have to set it on fire. But I have to know that whoever I'm becoming is going to need different tools than whoever I used to be. And to stay curious.
Absolutely. And I think that's just par for the territory when we're constantly growing and expanding. The things that we did 3 years ago aren't going to support us now because we're not the same as we were 3 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, so powerful. So another thing that we like to talk about here at Rebel Radio, which also doesn't really have a definition, is wealth. And as many know, I'm a wealth activator. What does that even mean? I help people understand what they want and how to get it. So wealth. What does that mean to you?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of not reinventing the wheel. So when I find somebody that has a really solid definition that resonates, then I'm happy to take that on. So I am giving full credit to Patrice Washington on this. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She is phenomenal blogger. She's been a podcaster. She was on the Steve Harvey show for years talking about specifically just the money part of finance, but she has a Redefining Wealth. If you haven't checked her out yet, amazing. And she talks about the 6 pillars of wealth, and she really focuses on the wealth being the 12th century definition, which is the well-being. Not the money piece is definitely one of them, but she also talks about relationships. She talks about space. She talks about, you know, fitness, and she doesn't mean, you know, sweatbands and Olivia Newton-John. Like, she means whatever fitness mentally and physically works for you, like what makes your body feel like it's good, like we got this. That's just a few of them, but I've been listening to her for a couple years, and that definition of wealth really helped to get me away from the laser focus on dollar signs and commas, and really helped me say, how does this all like weave together? So yeah, that idea that it's the definition of well-being.
Yeah, I love that so much, because really, if you don't have your health, you're not wealthy. If you don't have healthy relationships, you're not wealthy. The dollar signs are just a side effect of your well-being, which is your wealth. And I love that holistic version of that. I'm going to have to go and follow her now, because it sounds right up my alley. I love that. So good. So here we come to the one thing questions that everybody on the show loves. What is one thing that you wish every entrepreneur knew?
That you don't need to work 12 to 14 hours a day to get it done.
Oh my God. Fuck yes.
Oh my God. Like I appreciate the hustle and grind idea. And there are people that really do, I bless them. I think there's like 2 of them that actually do, like, when they're on for 10 hours, they are on. And the rest of us are doing, honestly, like 3 hours. And then the rest of it is self-care. It is getting distracted and like cleaning the grout in the tub rather than actually write that email back because you're kind of worried about what if I say it wrong, or checking in with other people. So one of the one thing, if I can boil it down, work smarter, not harder.
Oh my God, a woman after my own heart. That's like my tagline. Work smart, not hard. This whole idea of sweat equity, of burning the candle at both ends, busy being a badge of honor, it's bullshit. It's not supportive. Again, you're a human being, not a human doing. And how are you ever going to be wealthy and well-rounded if you're sitting in front of your computer for 14 hours a day? There goes your health. There goes your fitness. There goes your relationships. Been there, done that. I know what that feels like.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, the idea that if I work double digits a day, even if we're doing what I was saying before, that, the 9-to-5ers who then come home and work 5 to 9, right? Mm-hmm. Like, even if they're doing 7 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, and they feel like, okay, I need to do that. I'm going to ask a question. At what point are you going to be able to do less?
Yeah.
Like, start as you would like to continue.
Oh, yes. Set the foundation. Yeah.
If you're comfortable doing like 9 hours a day of work on your business, if you're a full-time entrepreneur or a solopreneur, or, even if you're putting in that second job, basically, your side hustle, as we call it sometimes. If you're okay doing 9 hours a day and you can see yourself doing that 5 years from now, carry on.
Right.
But if you're like, no, I thought I would just like get a running start and then like push the sled down the hill and climb on, and then I can just coast. Like, that's not how it works. So figure out what can you do in the time that you actually have, and then spend the rest of that time taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a marathon.
Yes. And you will go so much, you won't go faster. You won't go faster if you work less, but you'll go in a way you can actually continue going, and you'll love it.
Sustainability, baby. Yes. Sustainability. I'd much rather have a long, slow burn than a fire that burns it all down, because you're going to burn out.
Oh my gosh, you can't. Yeah. And even if the people who go, well, I'll hire other people to take care of it. No, you won't. You're just going to pick up more stuff, because at this point you think that if you work 9 hours a day, that's what makes the business successful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because you're conditioned to do that. You have to stick to the amount of time you have. And I'm serious. If that is 2 or 3 hours a day, but you can find what really works for you in that time, you're going to go, like you said, you're not going to go faster, but you're going to go farther.
Yeah. And I love that too, because oftentimes as entrepreneurs, we think we need to be doing all the things. But if you really look at, and I love doing time audits to see, what did I actually accomplish today? Where did I spend my time? The amount of time you're scrolling on social media is not working. Watching cat videos on YouTube is not working. No. Right? No. So focusing on those most important pieces, the money-making pieces, the content creation pieces, where are you focusing your attention? And I think when we do that, then it rounds it out to like a 3 or 4 hour really of creative expression time in your business. And then the rest of it's all fluff. So work those focused 3 to 4 hours and then be done.
Yes.
I think that's so important.
Yeah. I think for some people, that's totally the way to do it. I'm going to also say, for some people, putting in 5 hours, but spreading it into little chunks where you have cat videos throughout there, but you're not doing like a half an hour of cat videos. I love the Pomodoro method. I haven't read a book. I haven't gone to a training, whatever. Basically, it's 25 minutes of work, 5-minute break.
Yeah,
so
I used to use that
half hours. I like my little half hours. 25 of work, 5-minute break, and then after you do that a couple times, then you do like a 20-minute work, 10-minute break. There's like a little longer break in there.
Yeah.
I found that works for me because I can't like ovaries to the wall work for 4 hours straight.
Well,
I
you're a
can't.
7, you need to move. So yeah, I love the Pomodoro technique as well. I've used that in the past. And I think what really comes down to is that you need to first and foremost understand who you are and how you best operate. And every single entrepreneur is going to be different. There are entrepreneurs, I have clients that work at midnight, 1 a.m, because that's when they're most creative. And I know not to message them at 9 a.m. because they're sleeping, right? So just being aware of how you best operate is really important. If you want to work at midnight, great, but don't get up at 6 a.m. and get back to work again. Give yourself lots of space in between and lots of that self-care. I think that's really important. Yeah. So, Sara, if you could share something with our audience about current events, what's happening in the world without time stamping it too much. I mean, there's just a lot going on in our world. What is it that you would share with our audience?
I think what I found about what's going on in the last year. So like, not today and whoops, now we hear about it 3 months from now. And oh, that was an interesting day that she talked about. But like, talking about roughly the year is, again, when I'm working with these high achieving moms, and again, high achieving means you get shit done. It doesn't mean that you have a number of letters after your name. It doesn't mean that you're making big money. It just means that at the end of the day, you go, okay, I got a lot done, or I really tried to get a lot done. Yeah. Mixing up with trying to school kids and the people that are, able to work from home and how messed up that is, and the people who can't work from home and how messed up that is, added into what we already worked with. I'm a mom. I have a bonus kid. I have a bio kid, 2 bonus kids, and 1 on the way. So I get the whole, how do you make all this work? And it doesn't always work. Yeah. Plus, so we already had that. That was already the you can't have it all. Now let's add in a pandemic, and let's add in like major upheavals in social structures and how we take care of each other and who gets what and where the money goes and all of these really important but exhausting conversations that are happening. I have to say, in terms of social and now, I can't overstate how important it is to take care of ourselves. Yes. And when I talk about self-care, I don't mean mani-pedis. I don't mean get a new purse. All the time. Like, I don't mean the yes, it feels nice to look good. I'm not saying anything about that. But when I'm training folks and when I'm coaching folks, I avoid what I lovingly call white women yoga solutions. Now, I am a white woman who loves yoga, so there is no hate in any of those categories. But I'm saying, like, the advice out there for folks for self-care is so focused on a really narrow slice of women and moms that most of us don't fit into it. So the people who say, oh, well, when you're really stressed, go for a walk. I'm a mover. I love that idea. But that assumes that you have somebody else there to take care of the kids. Right. It assumes that you have the physical ability to go for a walk, that your neighborhood is safe enough to go for a walk. That, like, what if you have a partner that works second shift? I mean, are you good strolling around your neighborhood at 11 at night because that's when they got home? Right. Or no, okay, well, I guess I have to bring the kids with me at 3 p.m. and, 20 minutes later, somehow one of them's naked. Like, I don't even know how that happened. They're just trying to go for a damn walk, right? So the self-care piece isn't all of these other things. I'll tell you what, if my daughter has done something that has really annoyed me, I never go, hold on a second, I just had my nails done. Hold on. Okay, cool. Gel tips mean I'm fine. You're okay. Let's have a conversation about this. Like, that's not self-care. All of that's good and wonderful, but it's not real self-care. So I'm gonna drop this for your listeners, right? An acronym that we work on in the self-care slaycation, which is the program that I do for trainings for organizations, but also the 6-day slaycation. It's the same one. It's called HALT TM. And it's hungry, angry, lonely, tired, thirsty, that's the little t, and meditation, medication. So that's self-care. When I'm able to take care of those parts, I have a foundation. So when my daughter does something that pisses me off, I'm not looking at my gel tips to see if that's going to get me through it. I'm going to be like, you know what? I've eaten recently. I've reached out to somebody so I don't feel alone. And I put water in my face hole. So yes, I can handle this like a human being. Or at the very least be like, I need a minute. Like I can make decisions from a place of strength. So the piece that I'm sharing with people in this social time is that you cannot overstate the need for self-care, real self-care. That HALT TM will cover your ass in a way that nothing else does.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. And it's so important to realize what true self-care actually is, for sure. Yeah. Sara, I want to thank you for being on the show. This conversation, as always, has been amazing. And as always, we end the show with one last question. What do you dream of for the world?
I dream of a campfire instead of a table, because when we have a table of power, people have to bring their own chairs and there's never enough room. But in a campfire, everybody just scooches back, throws another log on the fire. There's enough room for everybody. We're going to make some decisions together.
Goosebumps. Thank you. Thank you for your dream, and thank you for being on the show.
Thanks so much, Cindy.